Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Women in Pop podcast. It is Jett Tattersall here with you again, and thank you very much for joining us today. Before we begin today's show, though, a very quick reminder that Women in Pop magazine issue 17 is out now with the goddess Celine Dion on the cover. We know she's a legend, but across 10 pages, we're going to explore her career from child star to the absolute queen of Vegas and the fully certified, artist and icon that she is today. We have interviews with Amy Shark, Missy Higgins, Sophie Tucker, and so much more. Plus, over 10 pages, we celebrate the 50-year anniversary of the mighty ABBA winning the Eurovision Song Contest, beginning their march to absolute global disco dominance and bringing the gorgeous voices of singers Agnetha and Frida into everyone's hearts. You can buy your copy now at womeninpop.com/subscribe or in a news agency near you. Our guest today. She creates music, which just combines absolutely gorgeous, sort of warm indie soundscapes with personal, deep, human, quite funny lyrics that have this uncanny knack of being able to tap right into your soul and resonate. She has been releasing music for almost 10 years now, and today her second album, MILKPOOL, arrives for us, all to dive into its delicious soundscapes and just party town. She is here to tell us all about it. It is the wonderful Merpire. Merpire, hello, and welcome to Women in Pop.
Hello, Jet. What a wonderful intro. Thank you for that.
I'm available for weddings and stuff, so just give me a shout.
I'll keep that in mind.
Um, Congratulations on Milkpool. My goodness, it's a lot. I made
Correct.
that sound like a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
Before I get into the meat of it, I'm very curious about the title because it's nourishing and equally it's going to drown you.
I love that
Um,
description.
Yeah, where does this emerge from? And I guess where do you see it reflecting in the sonic undercurrents of the album?
Mm. Well, I have a list of dream band names in my phone. I think there's probably like 150 or more potential band names in there. And honestly, I was scrolling when it came to working out a album name for this second album, and I kept coming back to Milkpool, which is a Simpsons reference. If there's any Simpsons fans out there, when Millhouse signs Bart's cast Millpool instead of Millhouse. So yeah, I guess I didn't realize actually till pulling apart later on all the different meanings within the album that the title itself is a perfect representation of how I take things or present things in a more humorous, light way. But then on the other side of things, the journey throughout creating this album was kind of murky in that, like a milk pool, where I kind of just have to wade in and trust myself that I was moving the right way or going down the right path when putting the album together. Yeah, so it's both deep and meaningful and silly, which is kind of
Meaningful and
neat.
silly, which is what a pool full of milk would be like,
Yeah.
I think. Um, you describe it as dynamic and fluid and metaphysical, and as you said, humorous, but I feel like you've got this kind of I don't know, there's a real shift in color tone as well throughout the songs. Was that multiplicity intentional going into it? Well, I guess it's never that idea, I guess, is to create an album. It's gathering the right collection of songs as an artist, because of course you all have hundreds upon hundreds. Or did you find the album sort of start to shape shift on its own the deeper you went into those songs?
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head with that. It's definitely a Frankenstein's monster of an album. And again, it's it doesn't present itself to me that it's coming together in such a way. Like, it's intentional for me that I've picked my favorite songs that I've been writing over the last couple of years to put on the album. And I think it's such a, again, good representation of how your body or your heart or something just knows without you thinking too much about it, until later on realizing that actually the album songs go so well together in terms of moving through different parts of my life, between crushing on people and for the first time actually going back two crushes past, if you will, because I was in a relationship when I was putting the album together. So I had to really, yeah, go back and I really enjoyed the challenge of writing songs that weren't in the moment, but I could make it sound like they were in the moment. And I guess the fluidity of it, of the whole album as a whole, is kind of this, there's a yearning energy across it where you never quite get to a resolution on each song. It's more like a pondering of where I'm at in my life, and it's constant change, which I really, again, didn't realize until I looked into it a bit more. So which feels cool for releasing it, because it means that each song can be interpreted in a different way, and I'm really excited to let people just enjoy the songs and let them be what they mean to them without me really defining what everything, definitely means.
I love that. And also, you're so right. Oh, it's lovely to hear you talk about it, revisiting crushes past. And I guess in doing that, quite often the past isn't just like painful, but embarrassing.
Yeah, definitely.
So revisiting that in song and then also possibly gaining a different perspective of it. And possibly even, I imagine, there's that healing process that comes to actually giving yourself a bit, cutting yourself some slack
Yeah,
on
exactly.
the revisit and going, okay, what about we put this shame spiral into a really cool melody and see what happens?
That's going to be my next band name list edition, Shame Spiral. I can see that for a band.
Really lean into that shoegazing. Rawr.
Yeah. Yeah, with Shame Spiral. Yeah.
I want to play fishing now, which came out today, so here's fishing.
And they're back to playing colors. And they're saving up only to rush in and spend it all like it's the last time. Like we're running into exes. And they're crazy for their exes. And there's not enough fishes to choose from when everyone's fishing like it's the last time.
Okay. And there's not enough fishes to choose from, but everyone's fighting like it's the last time. Like, what a gem. This, like, obviously feels like the biggest love letter to your mates, but then we've
Yeah.
just got woven all this other stuff inside. Talk me through about your use of the fishing metaphor on this one.
I don't know if it's obvious, but it comes from the term, when you lose someone or you break up with somebody, someone always says to you, there's plenty of fishes in the sea, or fish in the sea. There'll be someone else. It's also, though, referencing during lockdown how everyone was very, one for one, and going for all the toilet paper and going for all the baby formula, whatever it was. So yeah, fishing very much in the song fishing very much encapsulates my observation of lockdown as, certain friends were living by themselves and didn't have a loved one that they could hang out with. And so it's a song for them. And it's also, yeah, just a reminder that there's going to get a point where there aren't actually any more fish in the sea environmentally. And it's also just the way I've heard friends talk about their experience on various relationship platforms. Would you say relationship platforms? What are they called?
Yeah, dating
Dating
app.
platforms.
Yeah.
And how some people are just so willy-nilly to throw away a potential connection after one date. And I see that as being a very sad thing as well. So that's the song. It's environmental, it's relationship, it's understanding
Also,
themselves.
it's got one hell of a beat to it. And I love that this has come from the as you said, like there's more fish in the sea, but as you said, because of dating platforms, like some of the horror stories you see on that, like the fish are toxic. You don't
Hmm.
want to eat those fish.
That's it. They've been eating chemicals. They're
Yeah. This is your Simpsons three-eyed fish times 10
yeah.
on there.
Very good. Very
So
good.
this is awful. Speaking of friendships, There seems to be quite a few on this album. It's like villages of voices and textured into this bad boy. It's like a constellation of creatives. I'm very curious. How did the collaboration, I guess, shape the album's emotional DNA? Because as you said, you're going into it quite often looking back and going to those pockets of yourself that can only be confronted a few years later with song. So
Mm,
how did sharing, I guess, that space with others help the evolution?
great question. So most of the album I produced with my former producer, James Seymour, who produced my first record with me, Simulation Ride. And working with him really helped boost my confidence to say that I'm a producer because I mean, growing up as a woman, you get shafted into, oh yeah, you write the songs, you sing, but we'll take care of everything else. You just relax, which actually I did take for a long time. I thought, okay, cool, I don't have to do that. But it wasn't until my late 20s that I was like, but I maybe want to do that. But how do I step in and say I want to do those things? So James was great because he kind of didn't let me get away with not saying anything. He trusted me by kind of tricking me in a way where he'd ask me what I think about, say, one of his songs. And he'd be like, what do you think about this guitar beat here? Do you think it's crunchy enough or should it be softer? And I'm like, actually, I think it should be like this. And he'd be like, yeah, great. I'm going to do that. And that was such a seemingly nothing moment in my mind. I was like, oh my God, I helped someone with a bit of production on their own song. And so that really helped me speak up about my own songs, which sounds almost crazy, but I'm just such a naturally anxious person that doesn't want to do the wrong thing or doesn't want to embarrass myself. Well, I was still a little bit, but definitely much more back then. So that really helped the journey getting to MILKPOOL, where I would be so quick to throw up ideas, throw them to the wall. And because of how much time I'd spent writing and producing with James in the past, I could describe to him what I was thinking without using terms I didn't know. So, for instance, like I would say something like, oh, I can hear like a siren type sound in the background, but it's like two streets over, like it's two streets away, and it's maybe raining, so it's a bit muffled. And so I could describe a sound in picture form or almost like a scene form, and he would just kind of play around until he worked it out. So that was really confidence boosting. And so because of that experience with James and building my confidence with producing, I felt like dreams I'd always had but always pushed to the side, i.e. working with other producers, I had the confidence to be like, stuff it, let's do it. I'm going to reach out to them today. So one of them was James Dring, who works out of London and has produced or engineered a bunch of records that I love, like the band Sorry out of London, or Australia's Genesis Owusu. And I just sent him an email, which again, I wouldn't have done a couple of years before that, and just said, hey, I'd love to get your hand at producing something with me. Here's a couple of tracks. And he just picked one of the songs. He was like, yeah, I like this. This is great. How do you want to go about it? And that was the song Bigger that I released a few months ago. And honestly, I said, just go for it. I trust your instinct. Like, I'm going to you because he has this really sinister, like sexy sinister. I don't know if that's a proper thing to
That's the thing.
say.
That's the
But,
thing.
like dark, sexy, sinister, dangerous, quirky, creepy approach to producing, which I love. And he sent back his first go. He'd made a beat over the chords and the lyrics and the melody and a guitar riff that I did. And it was practically done. It was insane. It was one of those moments of like, this was the correct thing to do to reach out to James Dring. Yeah. And then I think it was just a couple of notes and then it was pretty much done. And it was timed well where I went over to the UK to tour for the first time with Irish band Pillow Queens, who are still some good mates today. And we finished the song in his studio, and that was like just watching a magician at work, him make all these beautiful audio sounds. And yeah, we recorded the vocals, and then we went downstairs from your studio and had a sandwich on the street. It was sunny in London. We had a sandwich and a beer, and it was just like, this is exactly where I need to be at this time. Yeah, so that was beautiful. And then there's one other song on the record called Rosanna that I
So glad you
produced.
said that. It's like my favorite song. I wanted to talk
It
to you about that
is.
as well.
Oh, I'm so glad. I love it too. With my friend Liz, who's Elizabeth M. Drummond, also very good at making dark, creepy, yearning production. She's one of the best producers I've ever met. And similar idea, I'd recorded Rosanna just through a voice memo on my phone on acoustic guitar and sent it to her, and she changed the chords around and added some more minor chords in the chorus and some more creepy sounds and that beat behind it. And I was like, oh my God, this is just, it's brought it to an even creepier space. It's almost stalky, you know? It's like, but yeah, I do love the chorus of that, of what do I even say? I say, you probably know better because it's your favorite song on the record. Oh, no matter how we try, I think we're in trouble, baby, which is like when you have obvious sexual tension with someone and you're like, we're trying to be friends, but I know this is going to go one way or the other. But then it also could be a relationship breaking down as well. So I'm kind of leaving that song open to interpretation.
It's, look, I'm going to play it now because we're going to keep talking about it. So
Love
here's
it.
Rosanna.
Drive to Rosanna, visit your folks for the weekend. Clear your head and your heart and your lungs of me. You play songs for chickens, sending me photos of their wings. You find any excuse to get me there. No matter how good we get, I think we're in trouble, baby. No matter how hard we try, we're just faking
It feels like a 3 a.m. like drive with a secret in the boot. And that secret is possibly a body of, or maybe just tied up, like not yet dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's something very like disco skin, femme fatale that I have a lot of time for. And then it just morphs as well. And it almost, it's such a strange morph sonically where it goes, but it works. It's such a great song. So I'm glad we got to talk about it. Pure dark pop. And I'm very curious, just your thoughts, because you seem to love it as well, with your sexy, sinister production team. How do you think dark pop particularly lets women explore rage and chaos,
Mm.
in ways that quite often music doesn't allow them space for, or the music where they're allowed to be, which is fucked up considering it's 2025, allows them to explore.
Mm. I love that question so much because we all feel it, but sometimes there's not really words for it. I think, I mean, what first comes to mind is this expectation that women should dress a certain way when they're performing on stage. They should be smiling. Smiling, especially, is like, oh, do men have to smile though?
No,
And so I think dark pop, like that realm, is such a great way of I mean, I'm thinking Saint Vincent and Caroline Polachek and those maybe even
bat for lashes.
Fat for Lashes, Portishead, and how they could be completely still, but they're so transfixing because they're writing and presenting. You can just, yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head of it. You can feel the rage from the music that they write. And it's like this, it's a really beautiful theatrical performance without actually having to move very much, you know? It's like all in the music. And yeah, it's definitely that dark pop vibe is definitely my favorite way. And I think this is maybe related to what you're saying as well. My favorite way to have a self-destructive fantasy that just lives in my head. And it's like it gets cleared by not actually doing anything physically self-destructive. But if I play a bunch of songs while I'm getting ready to go out or something, I'm like, yes, I'm in my own movie scene, but I'm not like drinking heaps before I go out or taking heaps of drugs, but the music is there to be the drug in a safe way.
100%.
Yeah.
It's theatrical, it's a performance, even if
Mm,
it's just for yourself. And Rosanna really hits it on that as well.
thank you. I'm so glad you said that because that's what I wanted it to be.
Good. Hit the nail on the head there. Um, I'm very curious. Obviously, we've just sort of started. I keep saying scab today. That's terrible, like picking the scab. It's really gross. Let's just stop saying that. Lifting the lid. That's a nicer way to say it. Um, as a woman writing and performing and producing in this industry today, pretty much in Australia, I'm very curious this is dramatic, what fires have you had to walk through, basically, just in order to be this vulnerable and I guess wry with the songs that are on this album?
Mm. Oh, yes. Albums are such a good reflection of all you've been through, aren't they? Without you even realizing sometimes. I've walked through many fires from a young age. I joined a cover band, two cover bands when I was 17 and was very much sexualized by the audience and a little bit by the band sometimes, to be honest. I can even remember us doing a photo shoot for some upcoming shows, and I was asked if we could increase the size of my boobs for the poster. And
Get
I
out.
was like 18 or 19. I didn't know what to say. I was like, yeah, of course, if it's going to sell. Mm. Yeah, awful. Absolutely awful. So it was that. And then just having to be like escorted by a friend's mom or like a wife of one of the band members around the pub from like stage to the bathroom till I was like mid-20s because I would
Oh
get
my God.
accosted. And again, it was just like normalized at that time. It was just like, well, this is just what I have to do to be safe. But looking back, yes, it was good that they escorted me, but really awful that I felt so unsafe in a place that was my freedom, you know?
Mm.
Uh, so there's many years of that. But then also, yeah, wanting to produce, but just when I started releasing my own songs back in 2017, wanting to produce or have a hand in the way things worked technically and being told it's going to be boring for you or it's going to be faster if we do it without you kind of thing. And you're only paying for this much time, which I kind of get. But at the same time, I'm like, you're assuming though that I'm not going to be good at it, or I'm assuming that that's what you think. And then also not having really anyone in my life growing up that was an adult pursuing creativity. So I didn't have anyone to look to be like, that's what I want to do until emailing Ainsley Wills in 2016, I think. She was my idol, and she was so generous with her time and her advice, and she was finally someone I could look up to of maybe I can do what she's doing. But again, I've living with anxiety and depressive episodes, and I have been a very slow learner, or not slow learner, slow developer into standing in what I want to do for fear of failure, for fear of judgment, and being unsafe as well, given my history with being sexualized. And so I think this album is honestly, and I've actually only realized this the other week that this album also means this, but it's a chance for me to recapture or re-acknowledge that I'm safe within my sexuality. It's like I'm it's okay to be sexy and not be sexualized and not for that to be unsafe. Yeah. Desire for desire. It's yeah, this album is just like, this is me. I'm doing it. I'm not afraid to be sexy with my songwriting or however. And I'm reclaiming, that's what I'm looking for, reclaiming desire and my place in desire and how I feel about myself.
It's a good point, and it's something it's
Mm.
going to take a long time for all of us to figure out, because you're right. Women's sexuality is always for someone else. It
Yeah.
was very removed. It wasn't for us. It hasn't been for us for a long time. It's starting to be again, but we've not had it. It's not been in
Mm-hmm.
our hands for such a long time. We don't know what to do with it.
Exactly.
Like, I find this, is this sexy? Is this too much? Like,
Yeah.
we're constantly second guessing us, and that goes for all of us. You know what I mean? It's really tricky, but hopefully this album will help. I'm very curious. You you posted last year a beautiful post on the history of the guitar, basically, how was it originally designed for women to play?
Yeah.
You know, in a world, we often talk about this in Women in Pop, in a world where music, like the when you think of music, the first thing that comes to your head is like an angry dude in a flannelette shirt, clutching, like strangling. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
old Hollywood throat grab of a guitar as he
Totally.
shouts.
Yeah.
How does it feel, I guess, to wield an instrument that was never meant for them in the first place? And does reclaiming that history shift how you see your power as a songwriter?
Definitely. I was so shocked when I saw that in this museum in Ballarat. It was a painting of this woman sitting down, you know, in a beautiful like petticoat, very, very female girly dress. But it made so much sense seeing even just, you know, one of her boobs sit perfectly in the curvature of the guitar. It's like, duh, of course. And then around the corner of that painting was electric guitars with, you know, two necks and jagged V's and all these colors. I'm like, oh, you men are ridiculous. Like it's like a kid's fire truck made into a guitar. You know, it's like a Hot Wheels. It's a Hot Wheels instrument. But yeah, it was just such a like a I shrugged and rolled my eyes because I was like, of course. They saw how cool it looked and we're like, we need to take this. We look silly with whatever instruments we're playing in our high knee socks and our little booties. We need to steal that too. Yeah. So that feels just like, yeah, if anything, it drives me more to be a guitarist. That's I mean, that's even something else. Before I accepted that I am a producer, I didn't think I was a guitarist. I wrote songs on guitar that I had to play live, but I didn't consider myself a guitarist. So silly. But I'm totally
I
a
think
guitar.
that's just inherent. We do that anyway. It's just
Yeah, we do.
backward, like, oh no, I mean I do it, but not really. Like
Yeah.
the level of artistry we put upon ourselves. I know I've spoken to visual artists before, and they're often referring like, unless I'm painting the Sistine Chapel, I think my work is
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, definitely.
Whereas they speak to their male colleagues, like, no, no, I'm wicked cool. You're like, okay, I need more of that energy. I need
Yeah,
more of
definitely.
that.
Yeah.
I'm very curious. This is lastly before I leave you, and this is very much in the world of Milkpool, in a world that often monetizes women's pain but recoils from their ambiguity and rage.
Ooh.
In an album that is so heavily leaning in to those not even darker, but the pockets that don't that aren't aired, the unaired pockets.
Mm.
How do you protect yourself, the parts of yourself that don't fit that mold? And what do you keep sacred in Milkpool?
What a beautiful question. I think the great thing is as much as it's annoying to have to wait to release an album if you're going to be strategic about it in terms of drip feeding singles and getting PR together and advertising, marketing, all that kind of stuff. For me personally, it does give me time to really think about what the album means to me in different ways and how I want to present it And having that time and getting older, like I'm 37 in October, and I see the push against older women being able to share their music, even though, and call me crazy, the more you do something, the better you get at it. And the more you live, the more important things you have to say. It's crazy. It's like men. It's nuts. I would say though that men kind of it's very generalized. But you see it all the time. Men kind of stick to writing like they're teenagers when they're 50 something. Sometimes, not all the time, but a lot. Whereas women, I think, we're really like showing like, holy shit, I learned this thing when I turned 30, 35, 40. I'm presenting it in such a way that any age actually can benefit from and learn and sing loud and proud to. This wasn't even the question, but the the monetization thing, I'm just honestly excited to release and get to talk about all of the songs on the album. That is one silver lining of social media, is that you can kind of treat every song like a single. And yeah, if anything, I'm really excited. I was really excited about releasing all the singles, but I'm even more excited about talking about the other songs that are a bit more personal. It feels a bit like when you go to a shop, say that's like, I'm gonna say designer bags, for instance. I don't own a designer bag, never have, no interest, but for this reference, it feels the most apt. So you go into a designer bag shop and the singles are all the shiny bags on the wall that everyone can see. They're shown to everyone. Anyone can come in and buy one. But you go to the shop person and say, these are all great, but do you have anything else? Like a wink. And then the shop person goes, oh yes, come this way, and like shuts the shop and then takes you in the back entrance where there's these more intricate bags that might have more of a story. And I feel like that's what the rest of the album is for me. It's like, yes, come this way if you want to see even more and even deeper, darker sides.
I love how you imagine extreme wealth. I also fantasize it like that. It's like in the films, there's a private room.
Yeah, come this way.
And that is an album. And that's so right. And I mean, to go on your comment about men are often repeating the same stuff. Blink-182 were touring recently with singing about masturbation and farts still. So there you go. That's the thing. They're still singing about it. It's fine.
Totally.
Um, Merpire, honestly, it has been so lovely talking with you today.
Likewise, I've loved this.
Thank you so much for joining us. Listeners, you've just heard just the smallest nuggets of it, but Merpire's new album, MILKPOOL, is out now and you can buy it, download it, and stream it on all platforms. Please get your ears around it now because it is really something special. And just before we go, a quick reminder that issue 17 of Women in Pop magazine with Celine Dion on the cover is out right now and features interviews with Amy Shark, Missy Higgins, Sophie Tucker, and more. You can buy your copy now at a news agency near you or at womeninpop.com/subscribe. Thank you for listening today. Until next time, from myself and Merpie, goodbye.
Bye bye.